I am Malcolm's determination and visions, and the blueprint for Dr. King's plans. I am the seed of yesterday's hopes and promises, for I am a black man.
I'm a young black man, doing all that I can to stand. Oh, but when I look around and I see what's being done to my kind every day, I'm being
what will happen now? We've got some difficult days ahead.
We've got it all so long.
But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop.
For I am a black man. I am that exclamation point at the end of every great civil rights speech. From I have a dream to by any means necessary. The will to strive for what we believe. For I am a black man. I am the never-ending sounds that flow from a John Coltrane saxophone solo. I am the aftermath of millions of black people making a stand. For I am a black man. For I am the provider, the mentor, the fighter. When it comes to strength and unity, I will instill them within my family, inspired by the beauty of my history, to strive and succeed in this land, and to make a way for my children. For I am a black man. For I am Garvey. I am Malcolm X. I am Dr. King. I am Frederick Douglass. I am Jackie Robinson. I am Louis Armstrong. I am President Barack Obama.
What's up? What's up? Good evening, family. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to another episode number 2, actually, of the GoodMen Hour, brought to you by Project GoodMen. I am your man, Minister. I got so many roles. I'm all over the place. I am LeVar Jones, the founder and executive director of Project GoodMen. Also, minister and youth and young adults at the New Macedonia Baptist Church. Shout out to the New Mass crew and family. Welcome again. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. If you are here, that means that you care about ensuring the legacy of Black manhood. And I want to thank you so much for joining us on tonight. Make sure you hit that share button. Make sure that you share with family and friends that Project GoodMen and the GoodMen Hour is live, and we want them to join in the dynamic conversation. Do me a favor real quick. Shout out where you're from. I want to know where you're logging in from. Are you from the South Side? Are you from Northeast? Are you from the Terrace? Are you from where you from? You from Simple City? Where you from? PA, New Jersey? You international? I want to know where you're from. Drop that in the comment box and let us know where you are logging in from on this fine evening. Make sure also to take a moment and check our social media pages out. We are Project GoodMen across all social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Make sure to go ahead and follow, share that with some friends, again, who need to be connected to the work that we are doing. Also, tonight, if you feel so led to support the work of Project GoodMen, you can do so by visiting by utilizing our Cash App, $ Project GoodMen, or you can also visit our website right there on the screen at projectgoodmen.org and hit that yellow donate button and give towards the cause. We really appreciate you in advance. We became a nonprofit December 24th last year. Seems so long ago. But we are grateful to God for all that he has allowed us to be able to do in such a short time. Let me see. We got Upper Marlboro is in the building. Miss Deja is here. I see you, Miss Deja. Auntie Alice is in the building from Delaware / the DMV. She is, I don't know what you call that. Yeah, she's all over the place. She's in good places though. One of our board members, Mr. Marcus Batchelor, representing that Congress Heights. on the South Side. Yes, sir. But again, we welcome each and every one of you. The GoodMen Hour is our monthly broadcast series where we introduce and amplify voices around Black manhood. And we really want you to grab hold of that. We want to lift up and give space to voices, not just brothers. You're going to see some sisters in here as well, as we continue to lift up these ideas and principles and thoughts and contribute to this local and national conversation taking place about the role and the lives of Black boys and men. It's a critical conversation, and we are glad that you are here with us. Last month, we talked about perceptions of Black manhood, and tonight, y'all, we're going into it. I'm excited. We are going to talk about the brilliance. You see how I had to say that? The brilliance of Black manhood, the brilliance, the genius, as we look at scholars and creatives and visionaries, all of the things that innately God has created and gifted Black men to be able to do. Now, in case we got some of y'all out there, not you, but the person that's in the room next to you or down the street from you who are getting ready to say, well, what about these other people? What about this group? What about that group? Tonight, we are focusing on the brilliance of Black manhood. That is not to say that Black women do not have brilliance. That is not to say that Asian men don't have brilliance. But tonight, touch your neighbor and say tonight. Tonight, we are dealing with the brilliance of Black manhood. Thank you. Shout out to Auntie Alice. We see your donation coming in. God bless you. Thank you so much for sowing seed in good ground tonight as we talk about the brilliance of Black manhood. So I had to go and get some brilliant brothers. And I got some good, brilliant brothers in this backstage of this waiting room. So y'all make sure and make them feel at home. First up, I'm going to bring into the room is my brother, my little brother.
Hey.
Yes, sir. Gary is not only a civic leader in New Jersey. He is the aide to the mayor of New Jersey, Trenton, New Jersey, New Jersey. That's prophetic, though.
Come on.
But he is also wrapping up his last year semester for that undergrad at the Temple University, majoring in political science. But of all the attributes, I am extremely proud that he serves as the vice chair of the board of directors for a small but growing organization called Project GoodMen. Gary, how you doing this evening, my brother?
I'm all right, man. I'm appreciative being here. I'm glad to have been able to join the board. I'm ready to get into this conversation. And just thank you for having me out tonight, man. We're going to have a good conversation, and I'm ready to take it on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely. And so we wanted to add to the pot a little bit more. So I'm going to bring in my other brother who is here, the edutainer himself, jack of all trades. Lamont Brown is an engineer by trade, but he is also an educator, a philanthropist, hardworking Renaissance brother, a musician, artist, all of the above. I could probably name a few more things. We crossed paths during our seasons at the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Washington. Actually, this is all Boys and Girls Club right here because that's where I connected with Gary. Boys and Girls Clubs of Mercer County,
right
up there in Jersey. So this is Boys and Girls Club crew all night. But y'all welcome to the conversation as well, my brother Lamont Brown. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you for having me. Definitely a pleasure to be here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So when we talk, when I was sitting and thinking of, who can we bring into this conversation so that there we go. That's a better, I like that look better. We can have this conversation and really amplify and uplift the notion that the brilliance of Black manhood is something to be celebrated, talked about, reveled in, to leave you in awe, to take your breath away. And that it does not take away from anybody else's brilliance, creativeness, genius, etc. But far too often we do not talk about unapologetically the brilliance of Black manhood. And that's what I wanted to give us some space to do tonight, to look at it through the lens of scholars and creatives and visionaries and all of the other things that, we as Black men bring to this world, especially as we've entered into another Black History Month. And, we're celebrating. I always try to make it my business to celebrate and raise the stories of men and women that people don't typically talk about. We know Martin had a dream, and we know Barack ran, and Rosa sat down. We know and we give homage to those leaders. But there are always stories that we need to hear more of. Bessie Coleman and Phyllis Wheatley, to name a few, as we celebrate giants like John Lewis and so many others. And so that's what tonight is all about. I think the world of these two brothers. We hopefully will be joined by one other young brother, bring our young men into the conversation. In all transparency, I had a little mix up with some communication. So we hope that Mr. Toryelle will be able to join us, and we'll bring him right on in. But I'm grateful again for these brothers who are here. Let's jump into some of these questions that we have. So, and I'll throw this out, and whoever wants to grab it first, and then I'm gonna try my best to be quiet and elevate these two brilliant brothers right here. But as we are celebrating another Black History Month and contemplating Black legacies, who has modeled Black brilliance in manhood for you?
I guess I'll go ahead and start. For me, right off the bat, just being a political science major at Temple, right off the bat is President Barack Obama. Right, because as I think when Obama was elected back in 2008, I was at least, let's say, 10 years old, right? And at that point, it wasn't nothing that we saw before, right? Up until that point, there had never been a Black president. There wasn't a Black vice president. I think, yeah, they were just in that political sphere. Blackness just wasn't normal. It wasn't what we saw often. So for me, being as ingrained in politics as I am, it's always a reminder that this is possible. Anytime that I start to doubt myself or to doubt the positions that I am, or doubt just what I can do, I always look to Obama and his rise and how he went from a state senator in Illinois and then to U.S. senator representing Illinois and then getting all the way to the White House. It's a beautiful thing to see, and that's just that one person that really steps to mind when I think about Black brilliance.
Yeah, no, that's dope. And I think, Obama for many people became the standard bearer. And no, he was not. I think where people messed up is that they removed him from being a standard bearer and made him a god.
Yeah.
He was flesh and blood like everybody else. He put his pants on just like we do. But he became such a great standard bearer because of the heights in which he rose to, but also in which the way he approached the work. I mean, very tactical, very intelligent. One of the things that we recognize we missed in the last 4 years was intelligence coming from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue Northwest. And so now even though it's not the Black man in the White House, we know that there's definitely some flavor in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue right now. But to bring the level of discourse that President Obama brought into conversations, particularly even when there was disagreement, we had that level of discourse and brilliance as well. Lamont, what about you? Who modeled Black brilliance in manhood for you?
Oh man. President Obama is a great one. So many come to mind. When I first heard the question, I honestly thought about my pops. I mean, my dad was a big influence in my life personally. He's also an entrepreneur, for the past 20 plus years. So I've seen him just kind of grind and just kind of put things together and provide for our family, which is major. A lot of those things go without being said, but I definitely kind of watched how he moved, how he spoke, how he operated. And that had a big influence on me. The other ones that came to mind too is Frederick Douglass. I know a lot about him because he's definitely one of my favorite writers of all time, I would say. But I've been reading a book called Black Broadway. Shout out to Breonna Thomas, who wrote that book. But in it, she describes how, Frederick Douglass was born into slavery in Maryland, and then later became the powerful abolitionist that we know, that was writing, doing public speaking engagements, when we weren't even supposed to be talking articulately or moving in rooms of power and stuff like that. So just breaking down barriers all around. And that's something that is still needed today. I feel like there's, for whatever reason, either some people are surprised when they hear Black men speak articulately, or some people get nervous, but I think it needs to be more of that, especially now.
Yeah, man. You said so much, good things there. It's funny, I had a conversation with someone, and they were saying, we should be beyond the place where we are still celebrating the first. And I said no. Because they're again, we're talking about centuries of oppression and centuries of this brilliance being pushed down and packed down. Think about, you pack brown sugar into a cup and turn it over. It's not just going to automatically fall out.
Well.
You gotta, the culinary in me got to bring the culinary and the preacher got to bring the illustrations in there.
Come on,
talk about it.
But it's not just going to fall out. So you got to keep pushing and allow those moments. So yeah, let's still keep celebrating these firsts, because they again point to the brilliance of us as a people. I want to just let our audience know, and my brothers as well, y'all pray about this. This technology is doing some weird things, and so I hope there's no glitching going on for our audience. If you're viewing this and you get a little glitchy from us, just drop it in the comments so we can know and just make some adjustments as needed. I told you we were going to be joined by the young buck of the night, and I'm so glad that my little brother Toryelle Coleman could join us this evening as well. What's up, good sir?
Hello. I am late.
You're good, man. You're good. We worked it out. Like I apologize and let folks know, we're gonna blame all that on LV tonight. Some weird timing and communications. But I had a chance to meet Toryelle at a program sponsored by Mikva Challenge DC. Shout out to Mikva Challenge, doing great work empowering young people in civic engagement and public speaking. And his speech around gun violence, it was captivating, and I made sure to reach out and connect with him, and we've been in touch since. He is a part of another organization that is definitely gets all credit and glory for me, Lifepieces to Masterpieces, doing amazing work here in the DC area for years. And I am grateful that he is also a new member of Project GoodMen. So definitely wanted to bring him on tonight. So Toryelle, I just threw out our first question for the night. Who in your life has modeled Black brilliance or brilliance in Black manhood for you?
That's a great question. And of course, someone that I know personally, I grew up with a lot of mentors and a lot of people around me, a great influence in my life. And we got these Black great role models, and there's a lot of them, but this one that stuck out to me is just, amazing. And I definitely want to give a shout out to my good people out there that have helped me, and that are Black role models that have taught me how to grow up, how to live this life and be great. And one of those role models I want to stick on today is definitely I just say, I mean, it's a basic answer, but there's a reason behind it. I want to definitely say MLK, And the reason behind that is because he's just a great person, and, the history behind him and the stuff. After he died, you just seen this anger and it's kind of like what's going on right now, but kind of different. You just seen this anger in the community and the stuff going on, people lost, not knowing what's going on, and the anger and the society was just coming to downhill. And, just to see that was kind of, sad, and it's kind of going on right now.
Yeah, you will never get a no from me on saluting Dr. King as an example of Black brilliance in manhood. I am a student of, fan of, and anyone that has known me for a while knows that in my third grade year in elementary school, I was tasked with delivering excerpts of the I Have a Dream speech, which I just learned in doing some research this week. Dr. King improvised a big portion of that speech on the day of the March in Washington, which again just speaks to the brilliance to be able to improvise any part of that speech, which I think has probably gone down in history as one of the most dynamic speeches ever given in modern times. To be able to improvise something like that, I think, again, just speaks to our topic this evening and the brilliance of Black men. Again, want to shout out our audience. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Hit that like button, hit that share button, hit the follow. Follow our social media pages, visit our website. Most importantly, share this broadcast out so that others around can hear these brilliant brothers sharing tonight. I want to move to my next question. And as we're going to dig deep and we're going to just run with it. When I was writing this one, I was going to try to be, politically astute, but I figured let's just ask the question as it is. Do you believe that the idea of Black brilliance in manhood is threatening to white America and mainstream culture? Why or why not? And then how do we respond to that notion if in fact it is true? I invite our audience as well. You got some comments, please feel free to drop your comments. We want to share those with others who are watching and with our panelists. But I will throw that question to our group of brothers first, whoever wants to grab it.
So I'll jump in. I think it's a lot of layers to that question. I think overall, one of the things that we do with the Swaliga Foundation, one of the things that I do with my music is make sure that we increase diversity and access, right? Because what that does, it ends up making everybody win because it makes everybody better, in the grand scheme, in the bigger picture. But I noticed you specifically asked, how does it affect white America and mainstream culture? And the reality is that mainstream culture does not want to see that, I don't think, because what will happen, the more, that Black men are not portrayed as thugs and, oh, we're just rappers or drug dealers or whatever other narrative that the media tries to portray. When you start to see the opposite, you start to see more brilliant business owners, more scientists and engineers, then automatically the mindset is different. And then even more so, that starts to get into the economic shift that is taking place, which goes against a lot of the agendas that are being used to kind of just keep us very docile and just going through the motion. And I think we as Black men, people are waiting on us to take up that charge. People of all colors, you feel me? White, yellow, blue, pink, people of all colors are waiting for the Black man to really rise up and kind of exert our true potential. So I think that a lot of people are not going to like that, but who cares?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You hit that magic word. When we talk about, color in this country, we sometimes leave out that color of green, which again is a thread that connects in a lot of different ways. Gary, Toryelle, what do you think?
I thought that was an interesting question because I actually was reading Black Beginnings yesterday, and it's a book that we're reading in my mass media and Black community course. And I read a part of the book yesterday, and it was talking about Jack Johnson, who was the first world heavyweight champion in boxing, and how when he won that championship back in 1909, I think, around that time, that the white America didn't want the film to be disseminated around the country because they didn't want that to start race riots. And the very thought that a Black man becoming the first world heavyweight champion, starting a race riot, was interesting to me. Because what that says is it pretty much answers this question spot on, that the thought of a black man or anybody excelling is a threat to white America. Why is that the case? It could be answered in a couple different ways, but that's definitely the case. I'm not sure. I think what happens is, and I think Lamont talked about it, it's just the idea of, I think it's that superiority where white America has it in their mind because of where we come from. If we look back at the caricatures that were used back in the day to portray black people in a certain light, the Pickaninny, and Jim Crow and all those other characters that just showed black people as people that were just stagnant or lazy or just goofy or, as comic relief. We're not supposed to be anything else but that. If you look back at Birth of a Nation, and how you see black men as these rapists or black women as Jezebels, and this is what they wanted to portray us as. So if you see black people being anything but that, if you see black people, like Lamont said, speaking, articulating very clearly and coming across as very, I guess they would say, polished, that's just not supposed to be the narrative, because we're supposed to be inferior. When in actuality, we are inferior. We're superb. That's just who we are at our very core. It's really not rocket science, because black people, we are black excellence. It is what it is. You can't get away from that. And to answer the question just very plainly, very short, yes, the answer is yes. I think black brilliance definitely threatens white America and the white man, and that's why they look to keep us down at every turn. If you look at this past election, it was all about suppression. Not just this past election, but all the other elections. Just the system in and of itself works to keep us down, works to suppress our vote. And shout out to Stacey Abrams down there in Georgia. She has really flipped the switch and conveyed to us what it means, what our vote actually means, and allowing that to happen and getting all of those people registered to vote. When we see, I think that's going to be that's the most scariest thing. When we realize what our civic duty is, and that we do have power in that civic duty, power to change the narrative, power to change the rules that we engage in, that's when you'll see a lot. And I think we're seeing it now with with the storming of the Capitol and then all this other outlandish stuff that's taking place. I think that's all in response to just the idea of black people on the rise.
Yeah, that fear. Toryelle, what say you, man?
Well, I have to agree also. They don't want to see black people, doing what they're doing right now. And sometimes they would even try to, back in the day, they wouldn't put libraries in black neighborhoods. They wouldn't give the proper education to black neighborhoods as they're given to white neighborhoods. And it's kind of happening right now. Why are we teaching these kids in Ward 7 and 8 different than the other wards in Washington, D.C.? And that's just not, they didn't want to see that. And especially in the media. Like he just said, right now, there's people protesting. There's people protesting downtown. It was a pro-racist group protesting downtown. And, they're here in our city, D.C., and it's just kind of amazing to me how it's just all white people, and the media put their attention to that instead of other stuff that's going on and good stuff around the community. People don't like the narrative that black people are succeeding in life. They like the narrative that black people are killing each other, robbing stores, and doing all types of other stuff in the community. And the media it's just scary. That's white people how they see it.
Yeah. I think all of you all have hit it. This idea of control. Media is about control. Power is about control. Perception is about control. Gary, you mentioned a lot of those movies and pieces like Birth of a Nation that came out that were designed to put this image in people's minds and to subject us to a lower rung of living. And what's got to be infuriating to white America and mainstream culture is that, man, we keep doing all this stuff, but yet these people keep rising. They keep bouncing back. They keep coming back. We tried to squash it out here, and we tried to unleash the war on drugs, and we removed fathers and men from the homes, and here come the Black women stepping up in mass number. And then we thought that we were going to, finagle them into being stuck into welfare mindsets and welfare programs and welfare thinking. And here, the women and the men in the community still rose up again. And so it's got to be infuriating, which again is why I think so often we see their response be one of that is irrational. Everything we saw in the storming of the Capitol on the 6th was an irrational, idiotic, crazy, whatever other words you want to label with it, but all laced in fear that they are going to get in power. This Congresswoman, I'm not even going to give her the duty, the justice of saying her name, but the Congresswoman who is from Georgia and has been just throwing out all of these wild statements as of late, said we got to get our country back. I'm sorry, ma'am. I thought you were representing the great people of Georgia. Last time I checked, there's some Black folk and some yellow folk and some other color folk in the district that you represent, in the state that you represent. So who exactly are you getting it back from and getting it back for? When Mike Pompeo, outgoing Secretary of State under the previous administration, left, one of the last quotes that he's been quoted on is, multiculturalism is not what America is about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, sir. Were you born here? I don't think you can. I don't think this is the country of multiculturalism. Like, that is exactly who we are. And so again, it just shows a very loose grip on reality, from those who are afraid. Let's jump to this next one. And I think again, it underscores what we are, underscores what we're talking about tonight. Our brilliance is not something that we have to try and do. It is simply who we are. How do you live out your brilliance? And this is moments, and this is why I brought these brothers on, because I've seen their brilliance. And so these are moments where, I've learned, and I turned 40 last year, and I learned last year there's a difference between being proud and being cocky, that you can still be humble, but still be extremely proud and assertive. So brothers, this is the time for you to assert yourself and tell us how you live out brilliance in your own space, because that's what we're doing now. We're amplifying voices. So please don't hold back. Tell us all of the goodness and the ways in which you are living out your own brilliance. And I'll start with Toryelle, and then we can run with that. How are you living out your brilliance, Toryelle?
Well, I'm living out my brilliance by being in the community, serving the own community that I grew up in, Deanwood. I work with Lifepieces. It's a mentor group, and we work with kids ages 3 all the way up to adulthood, basically. And they work with me. And I work with the Kings group. And these are kids from elementary schools. So I help them and mentor them in life decisions and stuff that's going on, and the stereotypes that they see on TV and stuff, and on these brands and companies. And that's what we mentor them, how to become a father, how to raise your own son, how to raise your own daughter in a community like you're living in right now. And that's what how I see my brilliance, and I speak my brilliance too, and I write it. I speak on gun violence in the community, so I type that up, take whatever data we got, and I send it out to the news stations. I send it out to our council members, and that's how I show my brilliance in the community and just worldwide.
I love it, man. I love it. Lamar, how are you living out your brilliance?
Mic check, Image your Captain here. We are now exiting the atmosphere. Now, if you look out your window, what you'll notice here is first we gotta go through the troposphere. Now that's the troposphere. It's the troposphere. It's the most dense layer of the atmosphere. Everything from the ground up, 9 miles high. Here's the troposphere. That's the troposphere. Now, if you feel it start to get a little cold in here, that means we about to move through the stratosphere. I can keep going. I'm gonna stop right there though. But
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
yeah,
Yes, sir.
I love it, man. So I've always had a passion for music. I'm a musician at heart. I play, I write, I produce. I'm an MC. And I always knew that that was connected to my passion and my purpose in some way. But it literally wasn't up until, a few years ago, several years ago, that I started to really use my degree in engineering to kind of just communicate those same type of science and, physics and engineering things that I learned that I still carry with me through hip hop, through music. And I feel like that's kind of where I found my sweet spot, if you will, of being able to contribute and being able to really show my brilliance. I feel like music is an art form, and to me, because it's not like basketball or football when you can have like regular stats and stuff like that. A lot of people don't always see music as that, but it really is a craft that you have to perfect, you have to practice, and you really have to hone your skills. And I feel like when I'm working with my students with Swaliga, I always encourage them to do that, and being able to kind of just be in your element. Brilliance is shown in so many different ways, right? Whether it's music, whether it's dance, whether it's writing, whether it's just, helping somebody out and just being intuitive enough to know, well, hey, I can contribute here and I can empower my community by doing this. Some of those things cannot be taught. You know what I'm saying? So I think now with me being the STEAM MC, I'm looking to shine my light even more so that other people coming up can see that and continue to show their brilliance as well.
Yeah, and I've seen you at work, man, and shout out to the way that you have, lifted science in such a cool way for kids to be able to connect with it, and then again, just the fact that they then now have a living, breathing example of, for young boys that are looking at you, oh wow, I can go do this. So a Nigel or a Montez at a Boys and Girls Club can say, yeah, I want to be an engineer as well. Shout out to both Nigel and Tez, who are part of the Project GoodMen team. Nigel, in his first year in the engineering department at North Carolina A&T. Tez, in his senior year in high school, looking to either go to A&T or FAMU and focus on engineering as well. So those are notches for you, brother, because you are setting the example for them. Gary, how you living out your brilliance, man?
Man, I think just what you said before you asked the question, about us being assertive and confident. For me, that has just always been me. Just being assertive, confident. Walking into a room with my back, straight. I walk straight every time I walk into a room, and it's just not that I do it consciously. It's just how I do it. Frank Sinatra wrote a song, said he did it his way. I do it my way. I use my experiences to touch those that come after me, right? So I've seen a lot of stuff. I've been a lot of places, and I use that and I take that. I've never really thought of myself as a mentor, but I guess if you look at it that way, that is what it is. I think just taking those experiences, sharing it with the folks. I think using that with my time at the Boys and Girls Club, and then just touching the young men and women and instilling in them that there is a power in their purpose. That's one of my favorite the slogans, and I have to give thanks to Crystal for that, because that was a speaker series that we did at the club, and I really liked the power and the purpose thing, and I was like, that's a message that we really have to hone in on, is showing folks the power and their purpose. And I think for me, living that out is helping people realize the power in their purpose, being assertive, being confident. I remember a time I was speaking with somebody and they said that, I don't really want to come off as cocky or, you know, just like I'm better than anybody. I'm like, no, that's not the case, man. You don't dwindle yourself or dim your light to make others feel comfortable. You keep walking with your assertiveness, you keep walking with your confidence, and that will get you to wherever you want to go. Just being that. And for me, it's not being the loudest or the boldest in the room, because your presence will command that. Once you walk in a room, it'll all do it itself. I know I've seen people that could really talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. So it's not about, for me, not having the best words or coming off with the best flow of sentences. It's really just putting in that work with those folks, with those younger people, and helping them realize that there's more to life than what their circumstances may dictate. Being bigger than that, being better than that, being resilient. Everything that you said in that last sentence, how we always overcome. They keep trying to bring us down. Keep being resilient in that space and overcoming those obstacles and turning them into opportunities to level up and be better than what that space might say that they could be, who they are, but not necessarily. You know what I mean?
Y'all catch these nuggets these brothers are dropping, man. Go make sure that you go from obstacle to opportunity. That's a book. That's a whole book right there. Don't y'all sit there. If anybody else come out with that book before Gary does, we're coming for you. That's his book. It's his book. Shout out to Deja, one of our wonderful supporters, one of my young people. She shows her brilliance by just lending a hand to others and letting everyone know that they have a voice that can be heard. Another Boys and Girls, something about that Boys and Girls Club Blue, man. Do something different to you. Brilliance is shown by letting people know that their voices do matter. Greatly said, Deja. And I'll just, it's a little long, but I live by it so much. I'm going to read it, and I think it speaks to this moment. And this is the infamous quote by Marianne Williamson, which was a portion of it was included in the movie Coach Carter with Sam Jackson. And says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small, this goes exactly what you just said, Gary. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let I love how this ends, as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Like one of the dopest quotes in the world ever spoken.
Like that.
And it says so much, but that end piece there really is about what we want Project GoodMen to become, and that we believe that there is innate greatness in young Black boys. It's nothing that they have to earn. It's in their DNA. It's in their makeup. It's who they were designed to be, created in the image of God. So there's greatness that's there within them. They, in too many cases, have just not been given the opportunity to identify it and flourish it, and to make it to make it move. I think about what was Pops in the movie Boomerang. He said he had his mushroom coat and jacket on. He said, well, you got to coordinate. You got to coordinate. and that's what, we want to unleash young brothers to be able to identify that thing in them and coordinate it with their life. That means coordinating it with the circumstances that you got that sometimes might be hard, that might be challenging. It might be a bad neighborhood. It might be the impacts of gun violence. It may be the impacts of drugs and poverty. and lack of opportunity, but coordinate that thing in you with those circumstances, and then figure out to get around other people and coordinate your gift with other like-minded people. These brothers on here tonight, it wasn't a hard sell for any of them, because we share a bond and a connection. We coordinate with one another. We make each other better through our individual relationships, and I'm grateful to be able to amplify this collective voice tonight. And that's what we need for so many of our young men and our young women, to be given the opportunity to coordinate what's in them with the life that they have to live. So I hope that y'all are listening again. Again, those who have joined us, you stopped into the GoodMen Hour, episode 2. Tonight we're talking about the brilliance of Black manhood, joined by Mr. Gary Lawery, Mr. Lamont Brown, and Mr. Toryelle Coleman. Let's keep, and audience, those who are joining us tonight, thank you again so much for taking out time. If you want to support this work, the ticker's at the bottom. You can definitely do that. We would love your support so that we can continue to build. But also, audience, if you have questions for our panelists, I hope to get at least 1 or 2 from you before we get out of here in a little bit. Please make sure to drop those in the comment box. I want to switch to this idea of Black men as scholars and ask this question. What are some ways that we can address young Black men who do not see value in scholarly pursuits in all of the forms that it takes? Again, I am from the school of thought that all people are not going to go to a 4-year institution, that's just not the lane and the avenue for every single individual. But what we want is young people to flourish in the lane that they're supposed to be in. Now, that doesn't mean we're not going to promote the idea of advancing your knowledge and your education. We want you to go to school. We want you to be the best version of yourself. But we want to also look at, what all those avenues that are afforded to us to be able to do this. So how do we address this idea of moving young Black men into a space where the development of their thoughts, the development of themselves, and to Lamont, you spoke earlier about, really being able to hone that craft and develop that gift. How do we encourage young Black men to pursue scholarly pursuits even more? You might be on mute, Lamont.
It's a lot of layers there. That's a tough question. But I think, what's most important is confidence, right? I've found in, being an educator, being a STEAM educator, it could be the simplest things that would kind of diminish our confidence, if you let it go unchecked. And when I say something simple, it could be maybe your 2nd grade teacher told you, oh, you're not that good at math, but that's okay. When really it just wasn't being communicated to you in a digestible way, or a way that was valuable to you, right? And then if you carry that on, if that kid grows up, now they're in high school and they're still in their mind telling themselves, oh, I'm not good at math, when that is probably not the case. So I think the first thing is confidence. I think we got to just continue to build them up, not only just academically, but socially, emotionally, mentally, everything. We got to just continue to instill that confidence. And then lastly, I'll say it's just about instilling the value of learning and knowledge, right? We always hear that knowledge is power, but I think today, because in the 21st century, we literally have unlimited knowledge in the palm of our hand, it's not seen as valuable. Though that still, relates to why back, not even 200 years ago, you could have got killed for reading a book. Like, you literally could lose your life for trying to gain knowledge. There's a reason for that, So in a time where we now glorify money and all these other shiny things that are so temporary, I think we just have to now, the leaders, the OGs, the entire community now has to put more of an emphasis on the value of knowledge. And I don't just mean degrees either. I don't just mean going to college and getting a degree, which is excellent, but other people, you have to be self-taught. There are other types of knowledge to be gained that can be valuable in this world. So I think it's up to all of us to really start to instill that in our young people and show them, even if you don't have a degree, this is valuable information, and you can probably dominate in this industry or field if you really have the confidence to go after it.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Toryelle, what are your thoughts, man? How do we bring back, as Lamar is saying, how do we encourage more young Black men to, to be focused in on the idea of knowledge and wisdom and the pursuit of that, being something that's a priority for them?
Well, yeah, I'm in high school right now. I'm at my junior year, and of course, I'm thinking about these scholar opportunities that they're giving me. I just say one example is you just gotta show them the pros and cons of what's going on and stuff. If you show them the pros, sometimes the pros outweigh the cons, and if you show them opportunities, it just shows them something different. I had a cousin one time who's he didn't even think about college, but until one of the colleges came up, showed him what they was about, what you could do, he got accepted right away, and he spent his years in college and got his degree. And the fact that he didn't think about college at all is just crazy. And now he's just out there doing what he needs to do. And he grew up in a rough neighborhood too, but he understood that things were going to change, and he needs to make that change in order for it to happen, and he did. And so you just gotta show them these role models and stuff, and the pros and the cons, and what's going on around you, and this is what's gonna happen if you stay here, and this is what's gonna happen if you pursue this. That's just basically how it is.
Yeah, I love that, because it reintroduces the concept of critical thinking, and we those critical thinking skills for you to really look at this and that and to make a decision based on the information that you have. Gary, what say you?
Yeah, I think, and I'm going to point to somebody's comment down here, Tim Phillips. First, I would say, we have to refine our educational system. And in that, we have to realize that we're not spending enough money in our educational system, and we're not valuing that. In my mind, if we add more money to this, we could start to. I had the pleasure to go to a school, study in a district that was underfunded, and then I had the privilege to move to a district that was heavily funded. And I saw the differences in how we were taught in the underfunded district and how we were taught in the funded district. The one district, it was just like, listen, y'all got to get this done, and then go ahead and move out. The second district, there were more elective kind of opportunities where you would get those real life tools and tips, right? So I'm going to now point to Tim's comment, helping them understand how being scholarly relates to real life. I think it's really the part where this relating to real life will help achieve your goal. It's not just, hey, listen, I know you got to do science class today, but it's more so of, listen, this book that you read is really going to help and shape the way that you think years later. So there was a college course that I took, Intellectual Heritage, and we read a book with Socrates and Plato, and we talked about the allegory of the cave with Plato. Right. I'm going to try to make this brief because I don't want to drag it out. But I think there's some of those books that we could use and kind of, simplify it in a way that we could start using those readings in a middle school kind of setting, where the allegory of the cave was pretty much talked about perspective, and how you see things might not be the way that I see things. So you have these three prisoners who were in a cave. There's a fire that is behind them, and there's some prison guards that are behind them, and they're putting up these little images with their hands that are projecting to in front of the prisoners, and they see these figures, these shadows. One prisoner is able to escape, and he gets into the real world. They've never been outside before. They only know what's happening in the cave, right? So the prisoner who escaped, got back into the cave and tried to tell everybody what was going on outside. Hey, look, there's grass out there. There's a blue sky out there. There's all this. And the prisoner's like, no, you're crazy. That's not possible. That's not the real world. That's just something that's happening in your mind. What that says is we all have different perspectives, but sometimes we're forced to live in these certain pockets of life, and we're not able to get outside of that and to live beyond that. And I think that's a special emphasis that we need to make apparent in the very beginning, so that we know that there's more that's going on. And I think that's a real life situation that could be simplified and put into words for, I guess, middle schoolers, elementary schoolers, and high schoolers to really understand and grasp that this scholarly, this education thing is more than just going out to get a job later on and then paying your student debt. It's more about really understanding how the world works and why certain things work in that way.
Yeah, yeah. You said so much in that. I think that, I think back to the time in elementary school where we used to have values assemblies, and we talked about things like honor and integrity, what that meant. And I think it speaks also, to both Lamont and Toryelle's comments about, the holistic approach in terms of how we develop our young men. And shout out to Tim. Tim Phillips is our good brother. Again, come through Boys and Girls. It's like Boys and Girls Club night.
Okay, BGC reunion.
And he's been on the wall and in the work for many years, working now with the Cesar Chavez charter school here in DC. And so I know he understands again too this idea of holistically developing our young people, that if we are going to see them succeed as scholars and creatives and visionaries, we got to provide and foster the type of environment that gives them access to Socrates, that gives them access to hip hop, that gives them access to mentorship, that gives them access to networking and professional development professional skill development. We got to provide all of those opportunities so that, and if we're honest, we look at other communities outside of ours, that is what has pushed them ahead of the game, because they have been afforded those opportunities to study Socrates and to study the power of music and the arts, and to be exposed to the power of the arts, to be connected to mentors, and to understand at middle school what networking is and what it means to go to dad's golf course and to meet his partners from his law firm. It's ingrained in these young people to be a whole person. And so again, we talk about that brown sugar illustration. Is so much stuff packed into that we got to give way for all of these pieces of our young people to be released. Their artistic nature, their scholarly nature, their visionary nature, their all of that. And the only way we can do that is by having holistic development, holistic education. I appreciate and shout out, parents who are homeschooling their kids, and charter schools and public schools even, that are creating programs that, again, go back to a holistic approach to how we raise our young people. I want to shout out Brother Akil, who is our manager of community engagement for Project GoodMen. He says we have to allow ourselves to be vulnerable and to teach accountability. He is the accountability prophet. If you ever meet Akil, that is definitely the mantra he marches under. And I love that notion that, one, vulnerability is required. And the level of that existing among us tonight, and just sharing from our own experiences. But for those who are watching, we got to be able to be vulnerable for our young people to see who we are, and to really practice what that accountability looks like. I want to wrap up with this question, actually, from our audience, from Deja. Since it is February, what does Black History Month mean to you? And while growing up as a young Black man, what is one thing that you wish you would have told yourself? Whew, Lord, have mercy. What lessons you have learned since then? Toryelle, good. He got some time. But I know, and I'm not going to age these brothers because I'm the oldest in the bunch. But yeah, what? Let's first deal with the Black History Month. And shout out to all of those celebrating. This is about us. This month is about us celebrating with joy and brilliance of Black people. What does this month mean to you? And I guess really in this context that we're in right now as well, what does Black History Month mean to you? I'll throw it out to Toryelle.
Black History Month definitely means a lot to me. Well, I personally don't think it should be month. I think it should be Black History Year. You know what I mean? We should be talking about Black history throughout the entire year. But Black History Month could definitely be a focus. It definitely means a lot to me. It means we're showing the greatness and we're showing what's going on and we're showing the Black history. Sometimes you're not taught. Sometimes I have to go out my way and go on Google and find out what's going on with Black history instead of in school because I wasn't taught Black history in school. They don't have a class dedicated to Black history. So, I got to teach it myself, or I got to learn it from my elders or my parents or the people I'm around. And Black History Month means a lot to me because they dedicated that to learning about Black history. So I learned a lot throughout the month of February when I was growing up. And it just struck me because a lot of the stuff I didn't know about Black people. And the fact that I'm learning it from my elders, it's just phenomenal to me. And, Black history just always be out there. And I love it. And we should talk about it all throughout the entire year. It means a lot to me.
That's right. You heard the young king, 365 Black History. Shout out to Dr. Carter G. Woodson, founder of Black History Week, which later became Black History Month. And I think does give space for us to make it Black History Life, Year, Decade. Lamont or Gary, what does the Black History Month mean to you in this current context we find ourselves in?
Yeah, I think it's super important. I'll be honest, man. I struggled with it at first. I had the same attitude, like Black History Month, like this every day, B. Like we making history every day.
Right.
But now my perspective has kind of changed. Like you said, shout out to the triple OG, Mr. Carter G. Woodson, for even having the mindfulness and the thoughtfulness to come up with this type of thing. And I think it is important for us to celebrate ourselves, and to continue to at least have that time where we can. I love all of the facts that come out. This whole month, people just start randomly dropping you old and new, people that make history, and give us that sense of pride. And I think it's the same thing with this country. I used to have the mentality of like, yo, I'm moving back to Africa. I'm getting up out it. They don't want me here. You know what I'm saying? Which, I understand that, but my perspective has grown a little bit to understanding that, our ancestors literally fought for this. Like we built this whole country, so we have to now take ownership, as Americans, not even just as Black Americans, but just taking that ownership. And I think this month of Black history is super important for that, for us to just really give everybody that's living their flowers. I love how one of my homegirls calls it Black futures. You know what I'm saying? That includes the young people too. You know what I'm saying? We're making history every day, so we got to celebrate that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Gary, I give the last word to you, my friend.
Yeah. For me, Black History Month is just about celebrating our Black excellency, celebrating our Black brilliance, celebrating our Black resistance. Our Black resilience, and all of that encompasses, resistance too, and all that encompasses, and just realizing that we are a powerful people, and we come with a lot, and we come with a lot of potential and a lot of power and a lot of fight, and it hasn't always been biscuits and gravy. And we had to overcome some stuff to get where we are, and we're still overcoming today. But through all of that has been through our resilience. I think one of the, like both of the brothers said, that just learning more about our ancestors and the folks whose shoulders we stand on every year is just always interesting. Last year, I learned the difference, the competing ideologies between W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T. Washington, and how the boys wanted us to go out, you know, and have those people give us what we needed. And Booker T, like, listen, we need this economic independence, and, you know, just, you know, chill out a little bit, and all that meant. So for me, it's just about celebrating where we came from, where we are now, and where we're going. And, you know, just that, I think that's been the hot word for me tonight, is that resilience. I think that's one of my favorite things when it comes to Black people, how resilient we are and how we can always overcome and turn those obstacles into our opportunities.
Book coming soon. Book coming soon. Yeah, no, it definitely it resonated with me, you know, so much. I think, you know, we talk about the facts and everything from the large, deep ideological things that we learned, even down to the small things. I learned yesterday that Kwame Ture was married to Mariam McCabe. Like, and if you don't know who either one, if you're watching and you don't know who either one of those are, look up those names. Kwame Ture used to be Stokely Carmichael. He was married to the great Mariam McCabe, amazing musical artist, just beautiful sister, activist in her own right. Had no clue that the two of them were married. So what conversations took place in that house with all of that power and revolution up under one roof? You know, just again, the brilliance that is within us, that is innate. It is innate greatness, meaning it was already there when we started. I could definitely do this conversation for another hour or so. I appreciate these brothers so very much. And I've told them that publicly. Privately, I'm telling them that publicly now. I hope that they understand how much they are appreciated, how much they are honored, how much they are celebrated for the amazing work that they're doing. Real quick, guys, just do a quick round. How can folks connect with you? What's going on in your space that people should know about, to celebrate, pray for, send you love and light towards? What's going on in your space?
Yeah, I'll start off. You can connect with me via Instagram at GReal. That is GEEREEAL. You find me on Facebook at Gary Lawery. Don't find me on Twitter. Just you know, keep me lifted in my final semester at Temple. I'm also the NAACP president on campus, and we're trying to do what we can and still make an impact virtually. So just, you know, keep your thoughts out for me and all that good stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, man, just want to say thank you again. Shout out to Mark. Right there. See you. Thank you again, LV, for having us on, man. This has been a great conversation. Gary, Toryelle, definitely great to be on here with you all. Please connect with me at Image Music. I'm a Gino E. IMAG Music on Instagram. imagemusic.com. Definitely go check out the music. We just dropped this brand new Atmosphere video. Okay, first of its kind. So we're like literally just teaching, you know, rocket science through hip hop and stuff like that. But definitely want everybody to check it out, help us spread the word. Knowledge is power. You know, and definitely connect with the Swaliga Foundation. You see me rocking the hoodie. STEAM education, you know, is super important. SWALIGA, Swaliga Foundation. Shout out to the tribe. If you're watching, Swaliga baby. Yeah, know your purpose, man. Know your purpose. I encourage everybody that's watching, everybody that's listening to this, continue to know your purpose. Keep pushing, keep fighting.
Yeah, y'all check that Atmosphere video is insane. Y'all gotta check that out. Joint is just like stuck in my head, man. Stuck in my head. Toryelle, man, appreciate you joining us tonight. What's going on in your world that we should be celebrating and praying for and sending love and light to you on? What's going on in your space?
Definitely. You can find me on Instagram at Tico_.16, and you can find me on Twitter at ToryDoesTweet. You can also find me on Facebook by just searching up my name. You know, I'm a junior at Phelps High School, and I work at Lifepieces and Masterpieces. Like I said, we work in the Dean Ward community in Ward 7 with kids from all across different schools in DC. and that's where you'll find me. And also on Twitter, I advocate gun violence and stuff like that. So that's where you'll see me at. You'll see me on some of the posts about the kids and teenagers getting shot around the town. Let's keep that in our prayers and the violence going on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Major work, even as we have started the year in the district with so much gun violence ripping through our communities as well. My brothers, I thank you all so much again for joining us tonight. Again, salute, love, light to each and every one of you in all of your pursuits and endeavors. And again, we thank you guys, and we'll definitely, this platform is, I always said, this platform will never just be mine. It's never just about LeVar. It's never even just about Project GoodMen, but our job is to amplify the voices of Black manhood in all of its beautiful forms. So we celebrate each of you again tonight, and thank you guys for joining us.
All right.
Well, family, it's been a great night. I appreciate you, and thank you all so much for joining Project GoodMen for episode number 2 of the GoodMen Hour. I wish that you come back. I wish that you would follow us on social media. I wish that you would visit our website and join our mailing list. I wish that you will make a donation of any size. I wish that you will come back. I wish that you will share this broadcast across your social media platforms so that we can continue to get the word out. Project GoodMen is launching its virtual programming on February the 11th. Excited that we got amazing young men like Toryelle who have signed up from ages 11 through 18. We've got some amazing brothers, adult brothers as well, who are becoming a part of our family. And we're just excited about what's in front of us as we look to add our piece to this conversation and continue to ensure the legacy of Black manhood. And once again, you can join us every first Tuesday of the month at 6 p.m. right here across our social media platforms on Twitter, Periscope, Facebook, and our YouTube channel. So make sure to spread the word. Follow us across social media at Project GoodMen. You can donate again via Cash App to $ Project GoodMen, or visit our website, www.projectgoodmen.org, to get more up-to-date information about where the tribe is going, what we're doing, and how you can support this great work. I love you. I appreciate you. And I'll see you next month. I'll end with this. We'll end with this. I'll show it at the beginning, but we'll show it here. Shout out to the storytellers of Project GoodMen, some of our young adult Black men who are a part of our village, have created this short piece in conjunction with our partnership with Mosaic Theater Company. Shout out to Mosaic. We had a great creative conversation last week and introduced the storytellers to the world. They're going to be telling the stories of our members of Project GoodMen. So I will leave you with the work that they have done, and we will see you soon. God bless.
I am Malcolm's determination and visions, and the blueprint for Dr. King's plans. I am the seed of yesterday's hopes and promises, for I am a Black man.
I'm a young Black man, doing all that I can to stay. Oh, but when I look around and I see what's being done to my kind every day, I'm
what will happen now? We've got some difficult days ahead.
We've got it all so long.
But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop.
For I am a Black man. I am that exclamation point at the end of every great civil rights speech. From I have a dream to by any means necessary. The will to strive for what we believe. For I am a Black man. I am the never-ending sounds that flow from a John Coltrane saxophone solo. I am the aftermath of millions of Black people making a stand. For I am a Black man. For I am the provider, the mentor, the fighter. When it comes to strength and unity, I will instill them within my family, inspired by the beauty of my history, to strive and succeed in this land, and to make a way for my children. For I am a Black man. For I am Garvey. I am Malcolm X. I am Dr. King. I am Frederick Douglass. I am Jackie Robinson. I am Louis Armstrong. I am President Barack Obama.